What if the real power in Asia isn't held by presidents, prime ministers, or parliaments, but by families? Not political families, business dynasties. Families whose last names never appear on ballots, yet shape the price of the food you buy, the job you get, and even the government policies that seem like national decisions. Here's the mystery. How did a handful of families manage to weave themselves so deeply into Asian economies that removing them could collapse entire industries? And why does no one, not even global institutions, seem capable of replacing them? Today we uncover how family dynasties quietly became the hidden architecture of Asian wealth, power, and corruption, and why their grip still tightens. Across East and Southeast Asia, one pattern keeps repeating: economies dominated not by corporations, but by clans. From Japan's Mitsui and Mitsubishi families to South Korea's chaebols like Samsung and Hyundai, to Southeast Asia's networks of wealthy Chinese business families, these dynasties didn't just build companies, they built systems. Systems where loyalty beats competition, where inheritance beats innovation, and where wealth becomes nearly permanent. But none of this happened overnight. Most Asian economies began industrializing under extreme pressure: war, colonialism, poverty, and political instability. Governments needed rapid growth, but lacked money, industries, and experienced entrepreneurs. So they turned to the only groups with capital, networks, and trust: merchant families. In Japan, the Meiji government relied on wealthy samurai families to modernize industries. In South Korea, officials handpicked loyal businessmen after the Korean War, turning them into national champions. In Southeast Asia, ethnic Chinese merchant families, already skilled in trade, became the backbone of new economies. These families stepped in when no one else could. They provided capital when banks were weak, built factories when foreign investors hesitated, and formed networks when markets were fragmented. This wasn't corruption, at least not yet. It was economic survival. But survival quickly became dominance. Once governments saw these families could accelerate national development, they handed them preferential loans, tax breaks, import licenses, protected markets, and massive government contracts. In return, families offered political loyalty. This created a powerful feedback loop. Government power created family wealth strengthened political influence, and political influence expanded economic dominance. By the 1980s, South Korea's top chaebol families controlled over half the country's economy, while Southeast Asia's Chinese family businesses held up to 70% of private corporate wealth in some nations. Japan's pre-World War II Zaibatsu families controlled banking, mining, shipping, and manufacturing all at once. Wealth wasn't just concentrated, it was reinforced by bloodline. But eventually, every dynasty reaches a breaking point. As these families grew, so did their weaknesses: overextension, inherited leadership instead of qualified leadership, heavy borrowing, and unhealthy dependence on political favors. Japan's Zaibatsu became so powerful before World War II that the government itself feared them. After the war, U.S. occupiers forced their breakup. In South Korea, the 1997 Asian financial crisis exposed the chaebol's massive debts, leading to layoffs and government bailouts. In Southeast Asia, currency collapses revealed huge crony lending networks that brought down long-standing political business alliances. The message was clear: dynasties work until they grow too powerful, and then they become fragile. After each crisis, governments promised reform: breaking monopolies, increasing transparency, regulating inheritance, and reducing collusion between politicians and business families. But almost every attempt failed, because governments were still dependent on these families for jobs, investments, exports, and political stability. Breaking the dynasties would mean breaking the economy itself. And so the cycle continued. Today, the dynasties are stronger than ever. Samsung's founding family still controls a company worth more than many nations' GDP. In Southeast Asia, 85% of billionaires are family business owners. In India, major business families dominate telecom, retail, infrastructure, and manufacturing and maintain enormous political influence. Here is the shocking part. A Harvard study found that economies dominated by family conglomerates grow slower and innovate less, yet remain politically protected. The pattern keeps repeating. A crisis hits, reforms are announced, dynasties shrink for a moment, and then they emerge even bigger. So what can we learn? First, family dynasties emerged because early governments needed rapid growth and trusted families more than institutions. Second, Their rise was fueled by political alliances, not just business talent. Third, attempts to limit their power often fail because the economy depends on them. But here's the warning: as Asia becomes the center of global economic power, these dynasties will shape the future of technology, trade, and geopolitics. The question is not whether they will influence the world, but how much power they will accumulate before anyone can challenge them. If this deep dive opened your eyes, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and tell me which family dynasty you want analyzed next. Your curiosity drives the next investigation.